Hello, everyone, and welcome to CASA 101. Thank you for joining us online. My name is Kristen Kramer, and I am the Director of Business Operations for Child Advocacy Services. And today we also have Madison Markham, who will be walking you through what the introduction to becoming a CASA volunteer looks like. So let's get started.
Before we dive in, let's take a look at today's agenda. We'll start with an introduction to CASA, followed by an overview of the role of a CASA volunteer. Then we'll discuss the impact of CASA volunteers, the requirements to become one, and the training process. We'll also cover the support you'll receive as a volunteer and how to get started. Finally, we'll open the floor to questions. Let's begin with an introduction to CASA.
CASA, or Court Appointed Special Advocates, is a national association that trains volunteers to advocate for the best interests of children who have been abused or neglected. CASA's mission is to ensure that every child in foster care can thrive in a safe and permanent home. When a child enters the foster care system due to abuse or neglect, a juvenile judge may appoint a CASA volunteer to help them. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate. CASA volunteers are screened and highly trained to represent and advocate for a child's best interest in the court protection system, bringing urgency to a child's needs both in and out of the courtroom. CASA volunteers promote safety, permanency, and well being through independent recommendations. As community partners in the child welfare system, CASA volunteers increase abused and neglected children's access to services, including things like educational and health needs. They promote safety and advocate for timeliness and permanency for children involved in juvenile court proceedings. CASA volunteers are independent advocates and provide individualized attention for children in a massive state system. Our program, CASA Ogeechee, serves the counties of Bullock, Screven, Jenkins, and Effingham.
As a CASA volunteer, you'll be responsible for gathering information about the child's situation, providing recommendations to the court, and advocating for the child's best interest. CASA volunteers handle cases involving children who have been removed from their homes due to abuse or neglect. CASA volunteers make incredible differences in the lives of children who have experienced abuse and neglect. CASA volunteers serve as the eyes and ears of the court. As a CASA volunteer, you will 1. Establish a stable one on one relationship with a child in foster care and get to know the child's unique history. Gather information from anyone who can shed light on the child's situation teachers, foster parents, family members, and physicians. You'll help older children plan and develop age appropriate goals. Ensure the child has access to needed medical, education, career, and housing services. Attend court hearings and proceedings, usually every 6 months, and make informed, independent recommendations to the judge about what is in the child's best interest. Bring a sense of urgency to the child's needs and promote safety. Advocate for timeliness and permanency for children involved in the juvenile court proceedings. Remain involved until the case is permanently resolved to keep the focus on the child. During the life of the case, you will act as one constant in the child's life as they experience changes in foster placements, schools, and casework.
Now let's look at some impacts. CASA volunteers make a significant impact. Studies show that children with a CASA volunteer are more likely to find a safe, permanent home, as we see in impact number 2. Let's look at some statistics and stories that highlight the difference CASA volunteers make. A child with a CASA volunteer is more likely to succeed in school because the CASA volunteer can provide educational advocacy and ensure all required services are provided. A CASA volunteer helps a child receive more services that address the family's needs by, but not including the following: they assess the child's situation, they investigate the case, they advocate in court, and they collaborate with service providers such as DFACS, educational institutions, etc. They monitor the progress of the case by following up with the parents, the child, to make sure everything is being implemented and that the child is receiving the appropriate services. They report any changes or additional needs to the court. They build relationships, and by taking these actions, CASA volunteers play a critical role in ensuring that children in the foster care system receive the comprehensive support and services they need to thrive. Additionally, children with a CASA volunteer are half as likely to re enter the foster care system.
The training process. Our training program covers everything you need to know to be an effective advocate. You'll learn about the child welfare system, how to communicate with children and families, and how to write court reports. The training includes both classroom instruction and hands on learning experiences. First is application and screening. Next is pre service training, which includes 40 hours of training, including courtroom observation. Next is the court observations. And the final step is a swearing in ceremony. CASA volunteers are required to participate in continuing education, typically 12 hours per year, to stay informed about new developments in child welfare, legal issues, and advocacy practices. Regular supervision and support meetings with CASA staff ensure volunteers receive ongoing guidance and assistance with their cases. By following the comprehensive training process, CASA volunteers are well equipped to advocate effectively for the best interests of children in the foster care system.
And once you become a CASA volunteer, you will not be alone. You have access to ongoing support and resources, including a supervisor who will guide you through your cases and a network of fellow volunteers. We also, as Maddie said, offer continuing education opportunities to help you grow in your role. So let's take a look at our staff. So our CASA program is made up of five. We have our executive director, Julie Pickens, myself, Kristen Kramer, the Director of Business Operations. Ida Daughtry and Sherry Pittman are our advocacy coordinators, and Madison Markham is our outreach coordinator.
How to get started. Are you ready to get started? The first step is to fill out the inquiry application, which you can find on our website. After that, you'll go through an interview and background check, and upon completion, you will receive the comprehensive application that is due the second week of class. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information will be linked at the end of the presentation. We're here to help you every step of the way.
Once again, thank you for joining us online. If you are joining us in person, this is where we would open the floor to questions. But if you just want to leave a comment below, we are monitoring the chat, or we will show our contact information on this last slide, and you can contact us. Feel free to ask anything that you would like to know about CASA.
Thank you again for joining us and for considering becoming a CASA volunteer. Your involvement can make a real difference in the lives of children in need. Remember, you can always reach out to us at info@cas-segA.org or via our office phone number, which is 912-764-4849. If you have any further questions or need information, we are also on social media platforms. You can search Child Advocacy Services SEGA on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you.